The other
It horrifies
issue,
me now, I use one.
yeah. Well, the other issue that has come up a few times in the past few years that we've written about is the public access to records into the process of government. We saw it kind of flare up last year with the Weymouth Housing Authority, a little bit of it when there was some issue about how they were going about looking for a new superintendent.
Yes.
And it came up again a third time with the idea of whether or not department audits should be done, made available to the public or kept secret.
Exactly.
For the most part, you've sided with the idea of let the people see what's going on. But with the audits, you said, you know what, this might not work out the way you're expecting it. Is there a middle ground? Is there a case maybe where the audits at some point could be made available?
It's a valid question for sure. I pride myself on transparency. I ran on it. And when I went into office, we made everything aware. The Freedom of Information we hand out weekly. I give it to them, give it to them, give it to them. This is all public information. The only difference, and the audits are public information, quite frankly. It certainly can't hide them. But here's my thought on internal audits. First of all communities have to have the yearly big audit, and that gets done. That's absolutely public information. It's done in books. It's handed out all over. So I mean, any big thing you're going to find right there. Secondly, on the internal audits, if internal audits are done and management looks at it and there's anything fraudulent or irregular, even any sense of illegal, has to be announced. And there was an irregularity at the high school, and it was announced, reported to DOR immediately. This was a few years back. I believe in what the charter says and the financial policies of the town say, is that these internal audits are for measurement. In other words, you go to a department head, you're in the internal, you are the auditor, and I believe that's why it was set up that way. And you say, auditor, you go in and check the accounts for, let's say, the town clerk and how they've been purchasing or whatever. It goes in and does a thorough checkup. If there is, let's say there's a secretary who isn't filing correctly, does that benefit Weymouth's public that this one secretary didn't file correctly? Now, if the secretary stole something or did something inappropriate, absolutely everyone has the right to know. And even though, yes, everyone has the right to know everything, what do you lose in having a department head be right up front with you saying, hey, look, we've got some excessive sick leave here, and I'm working on it, this is what I'm doing, so that here's where I think it comes in handy. That auditor who is hired by the council goes back to the council and says, we've got some excessive sick leave here. So let's just say that group comes in and wants something before the council. A council would be able to say, I think there might be some issues with sick leave here, maybe we need to. So it's not that I wouldn't want it used to a benefit, but, you know, and I gave, when Christian would ask me the question, I was, Christian, think about it. If you were, what good would it be, what good would it serve the public to know how many people were brought in from an ad in your paper? You advertise there's a drugstore. Does the public have to know how many people went and serviced that ad? What good did that do? Yet it might have brought harm to the paper. Does that make sense? And maybe it's not a great analogy.
No, it's not, because we are a private, for-profit, incorporated, publicly traded company.
Okay.
You are a municipal
business
paid for totally and entirely through state, federal, or local tax dollars.
Fair enough.
There's a big difference,
Okay.
I think. Okay. But I've spent my entire career trying to convince people that, I mean, we just had another candidate in talking about the need for total transparency in the budgeting, hiring, and operations of the municipality. And by total, you mean total. It's there, it's available, not that if we beat down doors, pulled out records, paid $800 every time we wanted something, it's available.
Sure.
And internal audits, personnel issues, I think you may have an argument that says we are in the midst of some sort of disciplinary or retraining issue that affects an individual. Maybe. But the truth is, there is no analogy to a private business.
No, I guess you're right. You
And the
explained
other
it
thing
right.
that comes to mind is, as you were saying, what difference does it make? And you were giving us some examples that maybe would be kept private. The problem is we don't know what difference it would make because we won't know that that issue has come up.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if the secretary who's not filing right is just inept and it's a small issue, or if it's costing the taxpayers money.
But that to be, let's just say they keyed in on a secretary, and it was brought in and aired out in public session with council. What if it was wrong? In this person's life, I mean, I don't know, I guess, I don't see it as a transparency issue. Here's my reason why. The audit is done, full and fair. It is brought to the auditor. Management takes a look at that and hopefully does something with whatever is found. It's brought to the council, absolutely should be. The council is the legislative body of the town. If they see, let's say they see that there is this excessive sick time in one of the departments, they may want to come to me and say, you have a department here, and you may not want to be doing something with it. You know, so I just see all of that as sort of internal. I don't know.
And I guess I look at it and I say, and you having been in government a very long time, probably have seen this too. How many people on the public payroll are model employees, are valued for money, are actually doing their job appropriately? I would say the vast majority. On the other hand, we have examples in the probation department,
Sure.
frankly, in every sheriff's department, in every city clerk's department, in every town clerk's department, in every water department, of political patronage of some level.
I agree.
It's the way it's there, it's done. And I, as the taxpayer, have a right to know that somebody is taking a look at the efficiency, the effectiveness, and the fair work of the person who's getting that salary. And for you to say to us, well, one hopes the department head would then take an action, leaves it altogether too loose and too unsupervised, and from my perspective, not in the public interest, because that department head could say, why am I getting into this kind of a jam, because that's so-and-so's brother-in-law's sister, and if I do this, that's going to happen. And that happens as often as not, that
Yep.
there are employees with big bubbles around them. It's a do not disturb sign on the front door.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Okay.
indeed
There.
what we would just ask you to consider going forward on that side of the argument.
Okay.
And I think that's the public good.
There is another argument there, though, that I noticed when I was in selectmen, town government, was draft reports coming out of that, which could wind up completely different
Yeah, then the
than the
ultimate.
final draft.
Yeah.
So, and people don't understand when that initial draft comes out, it's not the final.
Mhm.
But all of a sudden, that's out of their mind. Look what they found here in that audit.
It's a good example, and let me give you an example that actually happened. We had, there was one of the internal audits, and rightfully so, and I like to look at these. It was on vehicles, and what vehicles were around and who was using them. Love those audits, because you want to make sure that they're being used wisely. The auditor had wrong VIN numbers for many of the vehicles. And, I mean, people were going crazy. Where is this? It's not registered, it's not insured. I look at the reports. Heads are going to roll here. Get in here, had a big meeting, what's going on? All turned out to be not for anything, because they were wrong VIN numbers. They picked up the wrong ones. And those kind of things, I guess, I worry about. I'm not kidding you, they were horrible.
Well, that's, again,
Yeah,
but there
it's a
is
give and take.
there's a middle ground in there
Of
somewhere,
course.
but
It's
we'll
a
leave
fine
that
line.
alone.
It's a very fine line.
Christian, do you have any questions for the mayor? I know you do meet with him fairly regularly.
Just going back to the drug thing, the drug issue, I was just wondering, I know that your administration has done a lot and taken a lot of heat for it, but made some progress. Do you feel like you've done all you can do at a local level? Or
No,
is there
we
more
need to do
than
more.
you can
We
do?
need to do more.
And what what is that more that you can do?
We need to put more funding into it. We need a larger awareness campaign. We need to get into the parks, and if we have to put cameras up, see who's out there handing these pills out. We need to do more investigation. I think there's 5 people on the drug squad, and they are to the max. We need to have a better drug unit.
How are you going to do
Bigger.
that? Are you applying for grants? Are you diverting money? How are you budgeting for that?
One way is one of our police officers is working with the DEA, and we allowed to leave the town and go with the DEA on big items when some of these materials, these don't, because then it's all confidential, if you don't mind. But one way is that we also get a cut from what they bring in, so those revenues go right back into that drug unit. We really can't announce too much. I don't even want to say who the fellow is because it would put his life in danger. But they bust all the time. They have all these busts. You go up in the back of Weymouth Police Station, there's rows and rows of cars that have been seized. We're just waiting for those to turn into some funding, and you get a piece of the action if you're part of big busts.
So you could have got your car.
I could have got my car from Sue at the auction. I just got a new car.
You probably got a better one over there with those
Yeah.
people.
We have your cohort waiting in the wings, in the green room.
Oh my
Joe
gosh.
Sullivan.
Oh, Joe, yeah.
Yes.
Joe's next,
Oh.
yes. Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with, last word, Mayor?
I really do hope that I get another chance at it, because I don't think that I've been able to show or to prove what I can do for a municipality. I have a lot of experience, and I have a lot of spirit, and I just really want to make Weymouth the best place. I know that sounds kind of Pollyannish, but I do. There's such potential. We have such great people. There's so much that can be done. I want to open it up and have a little opportunity to do that. And hopefully the voters will give me that.